Hey everybody, I want to talk to you today about coming out of a ketogenic state and why it's messing with your head. Okay, I hope this is as eye-opening for you as I'm fascinated by this whole process, and it's one of the reasons why when I allow myself certain freedoms or if I certain training programs that allow me to do some glycogen loading or some carbohydrate loading, I don't get overly excited about what's going on with the scale. Okay? With that being said, I also know that when we follow these principles, I know when somebody's going in and out of fat burn very easily just based on what we know about science and how the body stores glycogen. Now, if you're a well trained athlete, you're actually conditioning your body to be able to utilize the stored glycogen in the muscle for energy and then to be able to replenish it. And that's one of the reasons why we have our post exercise carbohydrates when we incorporate that back in the performance mode. So that's the reason why. But here's what happens. So when you start program and you're breaking into a fat burn and it's been a day or two and you see a 3 to 4 pound decrease immediately, that's a pretty good indicator that you're breaking into fat burn. Okay? With every gram of carbohydrate that's stored in the muscle, you're going to get 3 to 4 grams of water that attaches to the molecule and allows it to absorb. Okay? When we go into fat burn, that obviously we get rid of it. Okay? So how the kidneys adjust for that process flushes out. I mean, obviously, we utilize the glucose or the glycogen. We utilize the glycogen, and the water is going to just disappear as well. Now, this is inflammation. This is necessary. So when people say, "Oh, it's just water weight" or whatever, it's an important part of the process to know that you're now getting ready for the good stuff. You're now getting ready to break into just solid fat burning, because fat burning is a result of, here again, calorie deficit. Okay, so now if you have reduced your calories by 3,500 calories the next day, then you could expect 1 pound of fat loss in addition to the glycogen drop, and you might see a 4, 5, 6 pound decrease at that point. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So now on the reverse side, when we bring carbohydrates back in, we bring that retention back in, and it's going to store in the muscle cell, which is a good thing, so we can't freak out about it. And then the big question that comes up is, Casey, how long will it take me to get back into fat burn? And a lot of people will instruct or coach or teach people or tell people that it will take another 3 to 4 days. Okay, this is not true. If you decide that you want to break into a fat burn sooner, then we just have to utilize the glycogen that's been stored, and the minimal amount of glycogen that you bring in, the faster you'll get there. If you fully reload the tank, it's going to take you all of those glycogen grams and calories to burn through before you get back into fat burn. So let me give you an example. If we bring in 85 grams of carbohydrates, that's 340 calories. That's going to be about 0.75 pounds of fat. Sorry. That's going to be about 0.75 pounds. Okay, so almost a pound when we look at it that way. So if we bring in 200 grams, then that's 800 calories, but the calories are kind of insignificant because that's still going to come down to calorie deficit or surplus, whatever we're trying to accomplish here. And that's going to be about 1.75 pounds. If we decide we're going all in and we have 300 grams, so we have the the mashed potatoes and the corn and everything else in your Easter dinner, for example, or Easter brunch, whatever you're having, then that's going to be 1,200 calories, and that could equate to 2.6 pounds when you get on the scale the next day. 375 grams. And the reason why I use that number is that an athlete will store about 1,500 calories worth of glycogen if they're super compensated with their glycogen. Okay, so if they're consuming carbohydrates on a regular basis, that's about as much as you can expect. Is about 1,500 calories coming from both muscle and liver. That's going to be 3.3 pounds. Okay, does that make sense? So now, if I'm going into a fat burning state, and I've got 1,500 calories worth of glycogen stored up in my muscle and liver. And in order for me to get into fat burn, I need to burn through that. Now, the only way to expel it from the muscle is to actually use it. So, what this looks like for somebody who's not exercising is potentially a 3 to 7 day process. Okay? If they're fairly active and using their legs and using their body, then that might take a little bit less time. And I'm assuming that they're fully carb loaded because most people just getting started on program haven't had a deficiency in their calories or their carbohydrates. It's pretty easy to get all those in. So they are now having to burn through all of these levels of glycogen before they tap into fat burn. How do we make that happen faster? Well, once we stop bringing in additional carbohydrates back into the system, then if we exercised, right, and I'm an advocate of that 1,000 calorie workout, that's what I would do, 1,000 calorie workout, and myself would do it in a fasted state, I'm going to be in fat burn almost as soon as I get done with that workout. Okay, especially if it's the next day's workout. Okay, so that's always been my goal. Is I might stop eating and go into my fast about 9 o'clock in the evening, and this is provided that I'm coming in off of a carbohydrate feeding or off of a plan that it would incorporate carbohydrates, and then I would wake up the next morning and I would go through my normal process of going in and working out fasted. If I work out fasted, no carbohydrates present, I'm burning through that additional 1,000 calories, and obviously the body's going to use more than just the amount during the workout. And we're looking at a high intensity interval training, or we're looking at some resistance training, something that's going to be a little bit, sure, walking is going to help, but it's not going to be as intense, and it's not going to allow you to burn through as quickly. So once that's done, boom, 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 I'm back in fat burn. Okay? That's going to blow a lot of minds because I know we're taught 3, 4, 5, 6 days, but that's considering that you're not exercising. And in fact, once we tell somebody to not exercise, they actually stop moving even more. So that delays the process of breaking into fat burn. Okay? Now, what's that mean for you maybe tomorrow? If you decide that you have, let's say a Cadbury egg, right? Might have, 50 grams of carbohydrates in it. So let's just say you had 4 of them. That's 800 calories. I mean, you're like a workout away from breaking back into fat burn if that's the only thing that you eat. So this is why it's ridiculous that if what you had was a piece of birthday cake, that you decided that you blew it and you're just going to wait until next Monday to start back up again. Okay? Think about it. You had maybe even had 300 grams worth of sugar from a piece of cake and some ice cream or something, right? You're literally just that far away from breaking back into fat burn if you just get back in track and get back out there exercising. All right? And then you're back in fat burning and everything is cool again. All right? Just wanted to make sure you knew that.